Hello people, I'm the Real Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Death of Wolverine. So yeah, I'm going to be going full in depth, so spoilers. If you have not read this book, leave now because I'm going to be spoiling stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So this book starts out in British Columbia showing Wolverine really messed up, and then it goes back to the past. It does like a little flashback, and so shows Wolverine with Reed Richards, and it turns out Reed Richards is not the only smart guy that Wolverine's talked to. He's talked to everyone because prior to this, Wolverine lost his healing factor, and he's like trying to figure out what's going on and how to get his healing factor back because, you know, it's not so good that he doesn't have his healing factor, and since everyone now knows he doesn't have his healing factor, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to kill him. So he's contacting everyone he knows, all the smart people. It's like, can you help me get my healing factor back? And Reed Richards is like, well, I'm trying, but we don't have a solution, but we'll figure something out. Come on, we'll do it. And Wolverine's like, nah, that's not going to work. So then we go back to the present. Wolverine goes to some bar. He leaves that bar. Then these guys come into the bar. One of the guys is Nuke. Nuke is my favorite Captain America villain. Think of him sort of as Captain America's Bane. He's awesome. I love him. He's got an American flag tattooed on his face. He was supposed to be the Captain America of Vietnam, and so he doesn't really care for Captain America. But anyways, he's hunting down Wolverine because there's a huge bounty on Wolverine's head, and he's got some guys with him. So he asks the bartender, hey, where's Wolverine? Well, you know, not so polite, though. And the guy tells him where Wolverine went, where he thinks Wolverine went. And so Nuke goes and he tracks down Wolverine. He goes on this boat to try and track him down to this island. Well, the boat stops working, and the guy's like, swim to the island. I know how Wolverine works. We're gonna be dead. So you see all these guys being picked off one by one as they're swimming to the island, and it's awesome. And Nuke finally gets to the island. Wolverine, like, killed everyone minus Nuke. And Nuke's like, okay, I'm gonna kill you. There's a big bounty on your head. So Nuke tries to kill him. Doesn't work out so well for Nuke. Wolverine ends up beating him, like headbutting the crap out of him, and it's awesome. I love seeing Wolverine working out like how to beat these guys without, you know, his claws. Like, he's really smart with how he takes people out, and it's awesome. I love seeing him doing it without, you know, using all his powers. That's really cool. So he interrogates Nuke. Nuke tells him, hey, I was kind of hired by someone to do this. Viper, you know, the girl that, like, Wolverine was married to before. And so Wolverine's like, I need to go find Viper. So he goes to Madripoor in disguise as like some dealer of like weapons, and he's got an Iron Man mask. He's like, hey, I'll give you this Iron Man mask. So the guy's like, okay, let me take you to my boss. My boss turns out to be this guy's boss is Viper. So he goes and he talks to Viper, and Viper's like, I'll tell you what's going on if you defeat my dog. And her dog is Sabretooth. Sabretooth's all chained up. Sabretooth's like, yeah, I was in a sticky situation. She got me out. Now it's sort of a life debt kind of thing. So he fights Wolverine, ends up clawing one of his eyes, and yeah, again, his healing factor's not work, so it doesn't heal. But then Lady Deathstrike comes out of nowhere and saves Wolverine from Sabretooth, so Sabretooth just like runs off. And then Lady Deathstrike's like, well, there's a bounty on you, so I could get some money for killing you. She tries to kill him, but Kitty Pryde comes out of nowhere, and it like phases through Lady Deathstrike's like, hey, you know, if I turn solid, you're dead. And she's like, well, I know you're not a killer. So she starts swiping at Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde takes out one of her hands, and it's really cool. Also, I forgot to mention, the art in this book is amazing. It's by Steve McGivin. I forgot his last name. It's McGivin or something like that. Anyways, it's the same guy who did Old Man Logan and Civil War. He's a really good artist. Art in this book is amazing. It's so good. And like every time you see something happen, it's awesome. The art is really good. Anyways, it's really cool seeing like Kitty Pryde take Lady Deathstrike's hand off, and so Lady Deathstrike leaves. Also, during this, we also learned that Viper was just hired from someone else to kill Wolverine. Like, they were like, someone hired Viper to put the word out on the street to kill Wolverine. So they're like, hey, we'll pay you tons of money. You just tell other people to kill Wolverine because, you know, we don't want to be directly linked to it. So she did that, and Wolverine doesn't know who it is yet. Also, during this, we also got to see Wolverine like fight some cool ninjas, and without his claws. It was really cool. I love seeing that. It was awesome. And so Wolverine and Kitty Pryde are just talking about everything that's happened and how Wolverine is probably gonna die because, you know, he's got a ton of people coming after him with the whole contract on his head. And Wolverine's just like, you know, I kind of like the fact that I don't have a healing factor. I can die of old age. He likes that, and I think that's a really interesting element of the whole fact that, yeah, Wolverine is fine with dying. He likes the fact that he doesn't have a healing factor. He doesn't like the fact that a ton of people are chasing after him, though. He wants to die of old age. And because he mentions in this book, he's like, with my healing factor, all the things I've made up for, I have literally eternity to make up for them. Now that I can die, I don't, so I can actually die and not have to worry about all these bad things I've done. And I really like seeing that. It was really cool, and the dialogue in this book in general is really good, but especially between like Kitty and Wolverine, it's really good, and I like seeing that. But then it turns out Kitty Pryde is Ogun, who's like this ninja dude that possessed Kitty Pryde, and so he starts fighting Wolverine, but Kitty starts fighting back, like wants control of her body back, and Wolverine starts fighting Ogun, but obviously not hurting him since he's in Kitty Pryde's body. So he's able to chase him out, and Kitty Pryde's like, I sensed him, he's nearby somewhere. So Wolverine goes, chases where he thinks Ogun is. He finds Ogun, who's possessed another guy, and he's like, I know Cornelius is behind this. Yes, Cornelius, the same guy who did Weapon X. And he's like, well, you know, I'm gonna kill this guy and stuff, and so not much happens. Wolverine pretty much just is able to beat the guy and without the guy dying, and then he goes in to find Cornelius. So Wolverine tracks Cornelius down to his Weapon X facility. In this Weapon X facility, Cornelius is rebooting the Weapon X program. He has all these new patients that he's going to inject with adamantium and try to make new Wolverines with. Well, Wolverine's not so happy about that. So Wolverine gives himself some claws because, you know, if he pops his real ones, then he'll start bleeding out since he has no healing factor. So he's got these fake claws attached to his arm, and he starts killing a bunch of people, making his way towards Cornelius. But Cornelius is behind this, like, unbreakable glass. So Cornelius has this cyborg man on the other side of the glass with Wolverine. He's like, hey, kill Wolverine because we need his healing factor. Well, Wolverine's like, hey, I don't have a healing factor anymore. Tough luck to you. But the cyborg tries to kill Wolverine anyways. Cornelius is like, just kill him. And so the thing tries to kill Wolverine, doesn't work out. It misses its punch and breaks the glass that Cornelius was hiding behind. So Cornelius is like, crap, Wolverine's going to kill me now. I need to book it up these stairs and make it to my escape helicopter. So Wolverine takes out the cyborg man, and then he's like, well, there's these people that are about to be injected with adamantium, and I don't want that to happen because I'm a superhero and these are innocent people and I need to save them. So he breaks open the thing that was holding the hot adamantium and just pours all over his body, and he's like dying. And so he books it up the stairs after Cornelius is like, I'm not going to let this adamantium stop me. I need to kill Cornelius. And so he goes up after Cornelius. Cornelius is towards the helicopter, but earlier when the glass broke, the glass went straight into Cornelius's abdomen, and so he's bleeding out, and the helicopter guy's like, see you later, there's a spewing hot adamantium man after us. I don't want to deal with that. So he books it in a helicopter without Cornelius. Cornelius is like, ah, crap, Wolverine's going to kill me now. So he starts sort of preaching towards Wolverine. He's like, what have you ever done besides cause death? And Wolverine just looks at him, moves away, stares up at the sky, kneels down, and dies. And that's the end of the book. I thought this was a fitting ending for Wolverine. I really liked it because it showed that Wolverine could do other things besides cause death. He had just saved 3 people, and Cornelius was like, what have you ever done besides kill people? And he obviously just saved 3 people. I thought that was really cool, showing that Wolverine does save people, and in the end he truly is a hero, because a lot of times, like in X-Men vs. Wolverine, when he's like, okay, we need to kill Hope because the Phoenix is coming after her, or in like Age of Ultron, he's like, we need to travel back in time and kill Ant-Man to stop Ultron from happening. No, here it shows, you know, he does other things besides just being the first person to jump to, let's kill this person. He actually did something that was more heroic, and I really liked that. I thought that was cool. Not to say I disagree with his opinions in the other books, because, you know, he is the one person that's willing to be, like, the bad guy and be like, hey, this needs to get done, even though it's not, like, the greatest thing to do. It is something that we have to do in order to save everyone else. Anyways, I'm talking about Death of Wolverine, not that stuff. Death of Wolverine. I thought his death was fitting. I liked it. I thought it was good. But I thought this book overall was a wasted opportunity. Charles Soule is a great writer. He's the guy who wrote this. And to me, I wish Marvel would have went to Charles Soule and said, hey, do whatever you want with Wolverine. If you want to kill him, do that. If you don't do that. If you want to kill any other character in Wolverine's, like, you know, mythology, do that. We'll let you do whatever you want. Just make a great Wolverine story. And I felt like that would have been better. Instead, we got Death of Wolverine, which was not a bad book at all. It was good. I enjoyed it. Thought it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. This is my second time reading it. The first time I read it issue to issue, so, you know, I'd read it and then have to wait so long until the next issue came out. This time I was able to read it consecutively, and I like doing that better with every single book I read. It's always better to read something in trade, and so this time I loved reading it and collected. It was better than the first time I read it. Anyways, Death of Wolverine was a much better book than when I first heard it announced. I still wish Marvel would not have announced it. They announced it like 6 months prior. They're like, hey, Death of Wolverine's happening. It's like, well, you kind of took all the, like, big, like, oh no, Wolverine's gonna die. Instead, it's like, Well, we know what's going to happen in the final issue of that. And, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a big deal, but they spoiled it. I wish they wouldn't have done that, and I wish they would have just been like, hey, Charles Soule, create the best Wolverine story ever and do whatever you want. Act like it's an Elseworld story. Just that much freedom. You can do whatever you want. I think that would have been awesome, but instead we got this, which was, again, by no means a bad book. I liked it. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was really good. I love seeing the slower parts of Wolverine. It wasn't just constant, like, stabby stuff. It was really good. The dialogue was great. Like, it was amazing. The dialogue was so good. I do wish there was a more pinnacle fight to the book. Like, there wasn't a pinnacle fight to it. Not to say there needs to be, but I do wish there would have been something like that. Instead, we got, like, one fight with Wolverine. Not to say Wolverine has to be action-packed, as this book proved. It doesn't. But I still wish we would have had, like, some pinnacle moment to where you could point to in this book. It didn't even have to be a fight. Like, there was no point in this book that I would point to and be like, that's the awesome moment. Like, the Death of Wolverine was really good, like, when he actually dies. But there's no point in this book if someone's like, hey, how's the Death of Wolverine? I'm not going to be like, well, this part was awesome. There's no part like that, like in other books. Like, say, the Wolverine Weapon X Volume 1, where I'd be like, the part where he's on the island and all those Weapon X guys are coming after him and he's trying to outsmart them and sort of Rambo them was awesome. And that wasn't necessarily action-packed. That was Wolverine trying to outsmart these guys. That part was awesome. In this, the book is good, but there's no great part to it. There's no, like, amazing part that's like, okay, this part is so awesome. I wish there was a pinnacle to the book, but there is not. Still to say, it's a good book, 7.5. It's definitely recommended for any Wolverine fan, but every Wolverine fan's already read this because it's Death of Wolverine. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this book. If you have read it, please let me know in the comments below what you think of it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And sacrificed himself to do so, and now he's going to die. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that Skype message. Anyways, he just sacrificed himself, and I thought it was a really fitting ending because a lot of the times Wolverine's just this guy who's... I'm going to continue even though there's Skype messages going on. And anyways, This is good.